Hi, this is Nancy, and welcome to my caregiver journal. My husband has been dealing with cancer now for 7 years, and he was a tall, large man when he started. He has recently, in his seventh year, dropped recently, probably about 40 pounds without trying. So we have been noticing that change in him. He has been walking slower. He has a hard time getting up out of a chair. He can't really drive his pickup truck anymore because he has trouble getting his legs up in there. So we notice all of those things. So we look at who he is now compared to who he used to be, and sometimes I feel like we've gone so far down that we're um, on that decline, that it's like an avalanche sometimes. But others see him, and I think it's twofold. I think they don't always notice all those changes in him because it may have been a year since they've seen him, 6 weeks since they've seen him. And I think people so want Dan to be okay that it kind of gives them a bias when they're looking at him. They're looking for the positive, and they want to be positive when they talk to us. So we have a lot of times when people will say, "Oh my goodness, you look so good." I even had someone say to me recently, "Are you sure he's sick? Because he certainly doesn't look sick to me." And that was at a time when we had gotten devastating news about his illness. So sometimes I think positivity can, to me, be interpreted as difficult or insensitive or even uncaring. And I often feel that way and override that feeling because I know who's saying it and where they're coming from, and that they are caring and that they do care about us. Rarely do I continue thinking that person's insensitive because I know where their heart is. But when you're talking to someone that you know is dealing with a serious illness, um, I think it might be better sometimes to try something other than, "Oh, well, you look good." It could be, "Well, you look good to me. How do you feel?" Or, "You look good to me. How do you look to you? How are things going?" Asking that question. And sometimes Dan or I will say, "Fine, good." Sometimes that gives us the opening to share. We've had devastating news. I have to stay up late at night because I'm afraid Dan won't be able to get out of the recliner and come to bed on his own. It might give an opening for that person to say something. So, positivity is wonderful, and I'm glad people have a positive outlook and want the best for Dan's situation. But sometimes I would rather you say something a little more realistic, like, "Wow, it's been 7 years. What's that been like? How's it going on your end? We're glad that Dan was still with us. How are you doing?" Kind of asking that question instead of stating a fact that really might not be true, because he might look great to you, but I might know what the last 3 hours has been like, and the last 3 hours might not have looked pretty. So, just a suggestion from a caregiver, that maybe we all need to take a step back and we need to think about what we're saying, and how it might be perceived by that person and their caregiver.